Okay, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our 2021 edition of In Conversation with the PE Department. We are delighted to start our new year with a new athlete from a different part of sport than we've worked so far. We have got not just Belfast's strongest man, but Scotland's strongest man, introducing Mr. Andy Black. Good afternoon, Andy.
Good afternoon. How are we getting on?
We are going okay, I think. We're in sort of week 2 of lockdown, so the kids that are here, we've introduced kids this term to do a bit of questioning. They've asked some questions on Teams, and we're going to bring these young transitus pupils in later, and we're just going to have a chat and see how things are in your life. So the first thing we've been asking everybody, the first thing we've asked, what are your earliest memories from school? Where were you at school, primary school, secondary school? And have you got any memories particularly linked to PE?
I liked PE in primary school, when it was, when you used to get the big tent and all the kind of games and all that kind of stuff, and the apparatus, if the apparatus was coming out, that was like a big day, wasn't it? If they were getting the big wooden apparatus out, everybody was kind of, whoa. And then, that was always good in primary school, and then obviously move into high school, but I was kind of weird with PE. I never really followed football or rugby, so PE was kind of, our school kind of centred around that,
Right.
first and second year.
Yeah.
I still liked PE. I never really found, what was interesting me. I kind of liked when we were doing like shot part. In the summer you do shot part and javelin, and
did you get an early link in there where you're sort of someone who got a graft onto the sort of heavier or more weights orientated sports at that time in your life?
No, not really. I wish I had, to be honest. Just our school, the way it was all just kind of boys done football and rugby.
Yeah.
Girls done hockey and I think athletics and stuff, and then in the summer you all done the kind of summer games,
Oh, yeah. Okay.
But I kind of wish we had kind of more, like maybe not so much
outside school. Did you do sports outside school or not really?
Done a wee bit of taekwondo. Just your kind of usual, your mum and dad send you there, didn't they, to try and a bit of discipline and all that. Yeah. But I enjoyed that, to be fair. I stayed there for a couple of years.
Okay.
But again, it wasn't like I knew it was never going to be like, this is something I want to try and progress in. It was just an after-school club, almost,
Sure.
Yeah.
And what about boyhood heroes? Did you have any sports heroes when you were younger? Was it anybody you kind of watched or looked up to when you were growing up?
Probably like, obviously you see bits of Arnold Schwarzenegger. He was a kind of big one when I was a bit younger, and guys like that. But I was never into like, the physique bodybuilding side of that. That's never I really kind of appreciated. It was more just you kind of trained and got big and strong. And again, even then, I only really knew him for the movies and a wee bit of the bodybuild. I didn't know, he was actually like so ahead in his sport, if you know what I mean. That you're not really aware of that when you're a kid,
I was the same as you. I mean, I watched him in movies, but I had no idea he'd been the strongest man.
Yeah, how far he made it. I mean, like Mr. Olympia 5 times. It's still like the second best performance since the Olympias. But you just don't appreciate that, really, I suppose, do you?
Okay. So when you left school and you went into work, etc., at what point did you get involved in sort of the weightlifting or into this field of expertise?
Far too late, to be honest.
Right.
I done it. I wanted to lose weight when I was turning 30. I'd had kind of kids a wee bit younger. I was kind of 19, 20 when I had my boy. Then my other wee girl and another wee girl, and I was running my own business at the time, so I had no kind of me time, no kind of vent. And then the kids were kind of getting to school, and I'd get rid of the business, and I was away to basically, start full-time employment with a friend I knew, so that was cool.
Yeah.
And I had a wee bit of time to myself, and I thought I'd like to lose a bit of weight. And I joined the gym, and straight away it was, I'm not just here to run in a treadmill and play about. This is something I quite like.
Mm-hmm.
And people were, I'd always watch Strongman at Christmas, as you do, Channel 5, and it was always a kind of pipe dream, not even a pipe dream, but just something In fact, I'd be lying if I said I even thought I could do that. I just thought, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
And when I started training in the gym, people who were about me were saying, oh, you're a lot stronger than average kind of thing. You know, I think my first deadlift in the gym was like 220 kilo. And there was guys that are like, mate, I've been here 5 years and I've not done that. And I just
So it was
ended up
very much, you went along to the gym and it just kind of, the sport kind of grabbed you then, would you say?
definitely, 100%. 100%. And you,
before you went there then, what sort of weight were you? Were you big?
I was about 200 kilo, yeah.
And would you put that down mainly to your diet at that point?
Oh, diet was just laziness. You get into a kind of rut, I think, and you're kind of, if you're not careful, and that's something I actually wish you could tell as many kids as you can, try and keep in at a sport. See, even if it's not the sport, sport, anything just to keep that active, see 2-3 days a week. It's just such a dangerous rut to fall in, and before you know it, the weight's on. You know, it's crazy.
And I know this will sound simple, and the kids will hopefully appreciate it. We're talking about things like crisps, Mars bars, you know, junk food, basically.
Your takeaway culprits, you know, just especially when I'm self-employed, you kind of put it down. You almost justify it as if, oh, I'm not going to be home in time for dinner. I'll grab this here. I'll grab that there.
Yeah.
You know, it's not healthy at all. It's not a good kind of. Not to mention, you actually look back, you spend a fortune on all this stuff. You know, you just waste money on food that's not good for you. And no, it's dangerous.
But you got into it, obviously, and that you got going. So, Leo, you're going to come in now, and I would like you, if you could unmute yourself and you ask the first question to Andy for you.
What made you inspired to do this?
Probably watching World's Strongest Man 2 years ago, and I'd seen that Scotland's Strongest Man qualifier was coming up in April, and I thought, I'm going to try and get fit for that. So yeah, watching World's Strongest Man and kind of seeing how far these guys could push themselves, it kind of struck a chord, and I thought, that's something I'd like to have a go at.
Brilliant. Okay, Charlie, over to you. What was your question?
What do you do as a typical training session?
That's quite good. So I train 4 days a week. So Monday is a pressing day, so that'll be all my overhead using leg drive, log press, stuff like that. And then we'll go on to like bench press to kind of keep our shoulders healthy, chest strong. Then a lot of tricep work, a lot of strongman's triceps and like pressing movements and helping loading and stuff. So then we come back in the Wednesday squats and deadlifts. That was last night, unfortunately. Legs are destroyed.
Yeah.
So squat and deadlift, and then leg press just to finish off. Back in on between a Thursday and a Friday, just depending how recovery's going. Another pressing day, but this time like no leg drive. So keeping it quite strict, really working your shoulders and try to get that upper body strength. And then on a Saturday, that's the best day. That's when we do all the events, loading medleys, Conan's wheel, all the stuff you see in telly, Atlas stones. That's when we train. If we've got a comp coming up and we know the events, we're training the events constantly.
Now, have you got a coach, Andy? I take it, or are you doing it kind of with your own knowledge?
So I've always used a coach, to be honest. So obviously when I joined the gym, I didn't really know what I was doing.
Yeah.
And it just so happened the guy that was doing it was a strongman kind of coach. And now I've got him, which is Ben Brunnan. He's actually Wales' strongest man, like 5 times in a row or something. He's been to Giants Live, Britain's guys, very knowledgeable. And now I don't know if you've heard of Andy Bolton, the powerlifting champion.
I have.
He's came in and he's helped me with my deadlift and my squatting. And hopefully next year we're going to go for the Scottish deadlift record with him. So
brilliant. Nice. Okay, Caitlin, you are next. Caitlin, what was your question?
What is the heaviest thing you've lifted?
390 kilo deadlift. That's probably my biggest lift so far.
That's about the weight of your house, Caitlin.
I wish, yeah.
Brilliant. And last one, now Ibrahim's last, but he asked a lot of questions, which were all very good, and they were all kind of linked a wee bit. So Ibrahim, you asked your question because we'll probably expand a wee bit on that, okay?
How has your diet changed, and what are the important foods for you to eat?
There you go.
Yeah, big difference. So I think the main difference is I still eat a lot of food because I'm still training hard, but I'm eating foods that are healthier, easier to digest, and actually contributing to the end goal. So I still eat maybe 7,000 calories, and before I was maybe eating 7,000 calories, I couldn't attract it. But I was eating 7,000 calories of rubbish, like no positive contribution other than fat gain, I suppose. Whereas now I'm up early in the morning. My first meal's 5 o'clock. It's eggs, bacon medallions, and a bagel. Then a couple of hours later, it's porridge, kind of set you up for the day. Then it's basically rice and meat with veg, 3 or 4 times a day, depending if it's a training day or a non-training day. We eat a wee bit more non-training days just for the recovery. And then, that's pretty much it. Just nice and simple and easy to digest, and throw in a few avocados and some nuts, some healthy fats, stuff like that. Yeah, it's a lot different.
I'm sure there's a lot of eggs though, and a lot of chicken and a lot of meat we're talking about, Ibrahim. We're not talking about a single egg here. However, that's great because it gives you an idea of the things you need to eat just to maintain some sort of healthy living. Yeah. Okay. And what about when you get away from the gym and stuff? I know you've got your kids you mentioned, but have you got anything else you do to unwind?
Not really. I mean, I kind of keep busy with it. Obviously, I work kind of 50, 60 hours a week, so that keeps me going, keeps me quite active as well. And then, just really try to spend time with the kids, especially during lockdown. I suppose it's not ideal that we're all off, but we are all, we've got more time with the kids, so you might as well enjoy it a bit and spend a bit more time with them. So
brilliant. And if there was one thing that you've maybe learned, I think you kind of touched on it earlier about maintaining your activity, but there's one thing you've learned through your rise to where you've got to. Was there one thing that you feel you learned and you maintained to get yourself to the top?
Just set yourself goals, like even if you think at the time they're unrealistic. I mean, my initial goal was to compete in a strongman competition. So in strongman, you'll have like very local competitions, like Motherwell's Strongest Man. You'll do a few of them, and then you maybe go and do slightly bigger cities or towns, Edinburgh's Strongest Man being quite a decent sized one, and Newcastle was probably the biggest, Belfast after that. Initially it was just to do a comp. Even if I came last. I'd done my first comp and I won it, and I thought, I quite like this. I've done a few more, and then it wasn't just to qualify for Scotland's, it was to go to Scotland's and get top 5. Yeah. And then I got my shot at Scotland's and I won it my first time. So now the goal for next year is, to get 2 times Scotland's Strongest Man.
And what is next, Andy? How does it work if you win the Scottish? Do you what is the next stage? Is it the British and then the world type? Is that how it works?
Yeah. So basically, normally you win England's Strongest Man, Scotland's Strongest Man, and you get an invite to Britain's Strongest Man. Well, you've got Luke and Tom Stoltman from Scotland, so they've already qualified for Britain's Strongest Man.
Yeah.
So they've got the 2 spaces for Scotland. So I'm going as a reserve, so I have to train, and basically, if anybody gets injured, I'll get to the comp, which is fair enough. It's kind of my first year, so I can't complain at getting a chance at that. But then after Britain's, basically top 3 at any of the kind of competitions gets you to Worlds. So you'd have the chance at maybe Britain's. There's a big one on in the Hydro.
Yes.
Giants Live are doing a Scotland Arena tour there. So hopefully I'll be competing at that. And again, that's one of the comps. Top 3 at that, you'll get to Worlds.
And is it the Worlds the one they put on the telly? Is that the one that we see on Channel 5?
Yeah, that's the one that's normally like in Florida or something like that, and that is the cream of the crop, in strongman. There's competitions you can earn more money, and there's competitions where you can maybe get more out it. But World's Strongest Man that's the title That's the title everybody wants, you know.
Sure.
100%.
Okay. Well, have you got any more questions, guys, from the pupils? Anybody else want to ask anything else? Are we good? I'm looking around. Excellent. Well, look, Andy, thank you so much for that. Oh, sorry, Leo has raised his
Thanks
hand.
for having
Leo,
us.
pop your noise off and ask one more question. This is the final question.
Yeah. What's the strangest thing you've had to lift or pull in a strongman competition?
It's quite good.
Good one.
I think, yeah. Sometimes it's kind of random stuff, you know. I suppose sometimes in training, when we're trying to simulate what it might be in the competition, so we're kind of using, you know, random stuff. Like in the gym now, there's probably random shaped objects that we're trying to mimic as stones, like natural stones. We've done a fridge loading medley one day just because it was in Worlds and there was a new fridge in the yard, and we thought, well, let's see if we can pick up the fridge and run 20 meters the fastest with it. Yeah, so probably a fridge.
Don't do this at home, kids, okay? You're not allowed to go into the kitchen and lift your
parents, they will not appreciate it.
Well, look, Andy, that has been brilliant. So thank you so much for your time. We wish you every success in the future, and we hope that you get to the British and get to do something, but maybe in a year's time you'll do that and we'll get to the world's strongest man.
Hopefully.
Okay, kids, do you want to come off your microphones? And we can say a big thank you to Andy.
Not a problem.
Thank you. Thank you.
No worries. Thank you. Thanks for having us.
If we all stay online, and again, thank you, Andy.